Hello everybody, this is Albert with Green Tea House. I hope you're doing well today. Today we're going to talk about the teas where you can actually see the tea leaf when steeping and how that really enhances the beauty of drinking loose leaf tea. Now before I begin, I highly recommend you check out our back catalog of episodes, in particular the fundamentals of tea, and I'll put some banners up here as to which ones are germane to the topic we're talking about. Okay, so part of the beauty of loose leaf tea and kind of leaving behind, running away from conventional tea bags is the ability to see the actual Camellia sinensis leaf. Now we have a picture of what it looks like while it's growing, and then we can juxtapose it with this one right here. So this is the actual leaf, and we need to unlock the hidden world of tea. For most of our lives, we drink from tea packets, and inside the packets, we never saw the tea. You just steep it and that's it. But if you were to open them and pour them out, I recommend you do this because you should really just throw out all your crappy Lipton tea if you have any of it. But if you open it and pour it out, you're going to see fannings. Fannings are essentially the sawdust, the remnants of tea after tea's been destroyed. And so in terms of marketability and profitability, it made sense. Kind of like how they got hot dogs and they just got the leftover parts of a cow and mushed it up and made hot dogs because you can still make money off of it. It's kind of the same thing with tea bags. So when we just steep and we're steeping the sawdust, we're really never getting the high quality of tea that we deserve, not to mention the visual component. I've talked about using all 5 of your senses when it comes to tea, and one of them is the visual component and the tactile component. So you never get to see the actual tea leaf. So I wanted to really quickly go through some of the different teas where you could actually see the tea leaf. So first we're going to start with the teas that you will never see a full intact tea leaf after you steep it. And this is going to be black tea. Now, if you've watched enough of these episodes, and particularly the episodes on black tea, you'll know why. So black tea has 2 major categories. You're going to have the orthodox, which is at least parts of the tea leaf, and then you're going to have CTC, which is crush, tear, and curl. So the CTC machine was created several decades ago to make it easier to rip up black tea to give it to mass audiences. In the way that we as consumers around the world drink CTC black tea is mostly an iced tea. So in particular here in America, all the Arizona teas, all the Snapples, you're drinking their tea, that is crushed up. And it's like fannings. It's the low grade of the black tea, but it makes a lot of money throughout the world. So you see a lot of black teas. The majority of black teas are actually made from CTC. And this is going to be like in Kenya, some places in India, and then they mass export it out to the world. And a lot of the English tea, a lot of the Earl Grey that you drink in tea bags is CTC. So CTC is lower quality. And then orthodox, the other one, is still going to be pieces of the leaf. But even like if you buy a black tea, even a good one like a Nilgiri or an Assam or whatever it is, they're going to be cut up. Because remember, black tea is fully oxidized and it has the most robust flavor. So by cutting it up, you're going to get more flavor out of it. You're going to get more of those theoflavonoids, theorubigens. So you're never really going to find a black tea that's going to have the whole leaf. Pretty much never. So the other 5 categories of tea, you have a good chance. I would tell you, well, let's hit pu'er. So pu'er is a type of dark tea. Most famously, you can see the tea cakes. What is a tea cake? You can also get pu'er as loose leaf, but if you buy pu'er as loose leaf, like the ones that we have, it's not going to be the full leaf. It's going to be parts of the full leaf, but after you steep it, you will not unfurl the full leaf. Now, if you want full leaf pu'er, you get those tea cakes, or you get even the tuocha, the bird's nest, even when you steep it, won't be full leaf. So if you want to get full leaf on your dark teas, the ones that taste like coffee, then you're going to have to get one of those cakes. And then when you break them off, make sure when you break it off, that you break it off along a whole tea leaf, because it's 100 tea leaves that they've essentially glued, compressed together. So don't break it off by ripping the leaf. So that's one place you can get a full leaf. The main place you're going to find leaf is my favorite tea. So if you watch these chronological, you'll know this is going to be the oolong. So the oolongs, especially the more famous ones like Dong Ding, Iron, Goddess of Mercy, these are going to be wrapped in really tight knots, and then when you infuse them, they unfurl on their own. So like this one originally was really, really tiny, and then when you steep it, it unties itself. So when you look at the wet leaves of the majority of oolongs, especially if they're low oxidized, so the more famous oolongs, you're going to see a full tea leaf. Now we offer low oxidized ones like Magnolia Oolong, which is one of my favorite. If you go to that episode, I talk about it. But we also offer Black Dragon, which is a darker oxidized one, and that one you will not have the tea leaves. But this is beautiful. I mean, this is an actual Camellia sinensis tea leaf. This is actually it. So almost all the oolongs, especially the lightly oxidized ones, the most famous ones, you'll see the full leaf. Okay, yellow tea. Yellow tea is not something that we drink a lot. I mentioned in a video how for Christmas my mother-in-law got me some yellow tea. Yellow tea is rarely ever exported out of China. You can buy it online, but you have to be very careful to make sure it's legit yellow tea, because lots of times you'll find them, let's say it's yellow tea, and you get it shipped and it's just green tea. So yellow tea, this is a tea leaf from authentic yellow tea. As you can see, it's smaller, but it is the entire leaf. And yellow tea, like I tell my daughter, is PT. It looks like the color of urine and kind of tastes like it too, but I love yellow tea. We will likely never sell yellow tea because it's hard to get it and it's price prohibited. All right, so what else do we got? So we got white tea and we have green teas. White tea, yes, you can find these loose leaf. It really depends. Like Silver Needle, which is the high end of the white teas, is more slivered, but that's plucked and withered. But when it withers, it gets really, really skinny. So after you steep it, sometimes you don't get the full loose leaf beauty of it. White peony can be one, and we offer white peony. White peony is another one where you can see the entire leaf, and normally it's intact. And then the last one is green tea. There's dozens of green tea variants, either from China or from Japan. I will tell you, it really depends on what you're getting. Now, if you're looking at the Japanese ones, the majority of those are going to be rolled, and even after you drink them, like you think of Sencha, you think of Gyokuro, you think of Genmaicha. Typically, these are not going to be loose leaf. You look at Hojicha, which is the roasted one that kind of tastes like coffee. That's not going to be loose leaf. Your best chance of finding loose leaf in the green world is going to be in the Chinese side. So for example, one of the ones that we do not sell, but I would like to sell it, is Jasmine Pearl. So anytime you see the gunpowder ones or the round ones, it's kind of like the oolongs. They're all wrapped up really, really tight. So when you steep it, you get the whole leaf. So that's one. Dragonwell, which is probably the most high end of the Chinese green teas, is not really designed. It's kind of like a long sliver, but you will not get typically full leaf on that. So I would tell you, in the green world, your best chance is going to be either you get a pearl one. Sometimes with the gunpowders, if you get high-end gunpowder, they're supposed to be wrapped up like a ball. You can get that. With ones that we sell, your best chance, seasonally we might sell a green Earl Grey. I have a video on that. In the green Earl Greys, when you steep that, you'll get the entire loose leaf. And as I mentioned before, seasonally we might have Jasmine Pearl. We do have Jasmine Green Tea, just the standard Jasmine Green, but that's not going to be loose leaf, full leaf. The full leaf will be in the Pearl. So in closing, if you really want to enhance your tea drinking and actually see and smell and touch a whole and intact leaf, then your best chance is probably going to be with the oolongs. And the lightly oxidized oolongs, they taste like green tea and they're just amazing. Oolong is my favorite category of tea for a variety of reasons, but that's where I would probably go if you want to get the whole entire leaf. Guys, post in the comments. I'd like to hear from you. Until next time, take care and God bless.